Hello, everybody. Welcome. You know the show. You just downloaded it. It's not like radio. It's not like a TV show. I can still say welcome. So welcome. And indeed, a big welcome to become Enlightened Up. That's the name of our show. It's really about love and laughter and joy and happiness. And I don't have to tell you how much we need this right now. A lot of fear out there. If you watch the news for a second, you're going to be scared. Even me, who doesn't watch the news, I occasionally I'll hear it from someone. They have to insist on telling me what's going on with a bombing or whatever it is. It's not like I'm not disinterested, and I certainly have compassion for other countries and things like that. But I do know that it's a distraction. I do know this has been going on since literally the beginning of time, as wars have been going on, strife, and so on. But what's not going on enough, as long as we're going to be distracted, let's get distracted over to this. Let's get distracted over to something good. Can we do that? Can we commit to that? That's why I have my first guest here. I'm so excited to have him. It was so hard to get him. I had to tell him.
That's not true, but thank you.
I had to tell him that there was a famous person that's coming in to be the next guest.
That's true.
Yes.
Yes, I would have come in anyway.
You really would have?
Of course.
I bribed him. I bribed him with Kenny Loggins and Caroline Ray because we do back-to-back episodes. And Gary Cannon is here with us. And Gary is he's one of the funniest people out there. You know, I never told you when you impressed me the most.
Oh.
I never told you
I love it.
Your face just lit up like, wow, I'm going to get complimented here.
No.
And I am going to compliment you. It really was extraordinary. It was the night of the retirement of the bartender from the Improv.
Eddie. Yep.
So, yeah, he's been a guest on my show. Eddie, not this show though.
Right.
So don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. You know, you're here before Eddie. Okay. You rank ahead of Eddie.
He wasn't retiring. He was celebrating 40 years working at the bar.
That's what. Yeah. So yeah, he's still there.
Right.
So anyway, I went. They said we'd like to go on stage. I go, no, there's no way. There's all these big comedians are here. I'm going. There's no way because it's not my type of performance.
Sure.
And they go, Gary Cannon's gone. I go, oh, okay. Good luck to you, Gary. Some mega people are here.
Huge.
And they went up on stage. Kevin Nealon went on stage.
Yep.
Jay Moore went on stage. Also, Jay Moore killed. Very impressed with him that night as well. And Kevin Nealon. You go up. I'm going, this guy's going up with the A players. Destroyed the room. Complete confidence. And that was the day I went, man, this dude's got chops. He's doing something I won't do, and I'm a long time in the business, pretty successful. Sure. I would never have done that.
Well, a couple of things. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a few too many drinks before I got up on stage, so I think I could have been maybe
a little
sharper. I think I could have been sharper had I not had 5 beers going into the night because we got there early. I think the show was at 8 or 9. But Eddie, the bartender, who's been a staple at the Hollywood Improv for years and years and years, and has met everybody in the business, he was getting honored that night. They were putting on a big show for him. And the idea behind it was come up on stage, tell some funny stories about Eddie, some accolades, what you know, this, that, and the other thing. And they called me and they said, would you like to roast him? And I was like, well, listen, I probably am not the top guy in town to do that. I mean, there's Jeff Ross or some other people that could certainly do it better.
Go-to people for roasting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they picked you.
Wait, now this compliment switching, Greg?
No, that was not. I said, and they picked you. So of all of those people with all the accolades,
absolutely.
And they picked you.
They picked me.
After they had already checked with them and they rejected.
After everybody else was out of town. I always know when the Montreal Comedy Just for Laughs Festival is because I'm always getting these availability notices. Can you come in this week? We're completely
because everyone's out of town in
the
Montreal.
Comedy Magic Club always, hey, we got 8 spots for you this weekend. I was like, oh, there's a festival going on out of state. That's
8
why they're
spots,
calling me.
all in one night.
All in
because we have no one left.
I'm jumping from club to club. Everybody's out of town. So
That's
that
hilarious.
night was special because I've known Eddie. He's always been great to me. I felt like it was at that moment where I felt welcomed and family at the Improv. But I don't think the other people who went on before me or even the audience knew that that's what I was going to do, that I was going to roast Eddie.
Right.
So I get up there and just start laying into him. Now, some of the other comics obviously made jokes about him, but
sure,
not to the point where I was making fun of him. And
you knew him.
I knew him, absolutely.
See, I did not.
Oh, you didn't know him that well?
No. I'm not having 5 beers at the bar before I mean, on.
That's
how you get to know a bartender.
That's how you get to know.
So I didn't really, I was never a bar hang guy.
So I said, like, hey, Eddie, if you're here in the showroom, who's not buying drinks for comics out at the bar? That was kind of the opening line, because Eddie was kind of infamous for, like, buying one drink after 9 or whatever. He had a rhythm to it. And then I just started making fun. And then if you remember this, another comic jumped up on stage and cut me off. Do you remember this?
I do.
There was, I think, Laura Keitlinger, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if she felt bad for Eddie because she didn't know that this was supposed to happen. But she
it was
jumped
uncomfortable,
up on stage.
Right?
It was uncomfortable.
You didn't know it was happening.
Had no idea it was coming up. She jumped up on stage, kind of shooed me off, and I thought maybe somebody from the improv told her to come up. I had no clue.
You know what it was? It was the beers. It was an intervention. That's what she was doing.
It had nothing to do with the roast
Someone
anymore.
had nothing to do with it. He's had enough of
There's a car out
show.
front.
There's a car out
Get
front.
him out.
We called you an Uber. Get off stage.
But you got to remember, I mean, so many big names from the improv were there. I mean, it was standing room only.
And the founder of the improv, Bud Friedman, was there. Yeah.
Everybody was there.
Yeah.
So it was a
for you to get
night.
up was really courageous, in my opinion. There's no way I would get up. I wouldn't get up to say, "Hey, congratulations." I'd do it from the audience.
I just remember.
I enjoyed the night, by the way. I was a total spectator.
Well, the guy who hosted it, who's been around forever, kind of almost a very similar Fraser Smith guy, a guy named David Gee, who's been around forever.
He delivered too.
He was great. And I remember saying, David does not have a cell phone. Does not. And I remember saying something to David, I never understood why David doesn't have a cell phone. Don't people need to get in touch with him? And after seeing his act, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like just these little...
He really doesn't have a cell phone?
No, there's
That's
like
insane.
3 guys.
He has a wall phone at his house, still waiting for Mitzi Shore to call from...
Listen, there was, before Fran had passed away, who was the booker of the Vegas Improv Tahoe, you would fax your avails into her.
Your avails.
Faxing them in. I just remember that. And just like, you visualize in her office that like thermal piece of paper that comes rolling through, crinkled up. She's like,
she's sniffing it, trying to get high.
He's available.
For those of you young enough to not know what this is, there was fax paper.
Sure.
Then before that, there was mimeographs. Remember mimeographs? You would sniff them.
Oh,
like a... Come on, you know what a mimeograph is? It's like it's like a Xerox.
Oh, is that what? Okay, maybe.
But it was mimeograph. It was made from ink, and you would actually literally sniff dittos. How about dittos? You remember dittos?
Let's get back to complimenting me. We don't need. Who cares about a mimeograph? Let's talk about how I kicked ass. No, it was a lot of fun.
But here was the thing here's the thing that was also courageous for you and Guy as well. This shocked me. If you're going to go up in front of comedians, you want to be completely like original.
Yes.
You guys did things from your act.
Yes.
It was shocking to me.
Yes.
Like I was going, oh my God, I was surprised you didn't say, hey, he's at a Cole's shirt. That's Gary's big thing. He picks someone in the audience who's wearing Cole's.
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you about that really quick.
Yes.
You know, I teach and mentor comedians. Do you know the secret behind, I'm wondering if you know this, that you chose that particular store? Do you know why it's funny?
No. I mean, I never really.
Oh my God.
Well, it was originally Mervin's.
Accidentally,
okay.
You picked the right place. I'm going to tell you why. It's amazing you don't know this. Because it starts with a K.
Is that
punchlines are P's, B's, and K's. So you going, Coles. That's strong. That's a punchline, not a hug line. It's amazing that you don't know that. It's just that's the dissection, the science of comedy. But you really picked instinctually, because you've been at it so long. You picked the right word. You picked the right place.
It's not as sharp as like a Sears.
Sears is nowhere near as funny as Cole's.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So that's the origin of it.
That is the origin. There's even a thing in the Sunshine Boys where they go, K's are funny. Kumquat is a funny word. Kumquat.
Well, I would like to thank Coles because that bit has made me hundreds of dollars over the years working at comedy clubs and just being so proficient. But I will say, that was such a great night.
I thought you were going to thank them because they should sponsor you. Have you ever contacted them about that? You had to have.
I met a couple that was at the Improv one night that their great-grandfather founded the Coles business.
No, you're not. That's amazing.
I guess so. That's what
his name was Cole?
Yeah, their last name is Cole, Cheryl Cole, something like that.
And?
Nothing.
Oh,
I don't know.
This is where I wish I was your manager. You just go. You only go so far because you need management.
Yes, yes.
So this is where you would be sponsored by them if I was your manager. I'd have a cigar right now, going, Gary. Remember I got you that Kohl's deal? Unbelievable.
Free clothing. It would be great.
Of course, everything I have on is free.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
I can tell. And that's not a cut.
Whoa.
No, I'm just.
They're amazing clothes. Look at these
beautiful.
brand new pants. These are Taylor Bird.
Okay.
The shoes are Alma Mater. You've got to look them up. They're amazing shoes.
Okay.
Handmade. This is Taylor Bird. The watch is Reactor.
And
and these vitamins next to me. This is our new.
Oh
this is our new sponsor. This is an actual sponsor, not just free to me. But HY-est vitamins. It's all molecular hydrogen. And by the way, you get these when you leave.
Really?
I give you a parting gift.
Really? There's a gift.
I have a few gifts for you.
Okay.
Coming all the way from, I thought you were in Encino, which is closer, but you moved to Studio City.
Well, I'm going to explain what happened there.
Okay, tell me.
So what happened was...
Which made, up to my guilt, though, because I thought, he's coming from Encino. That's not bad. I went to his house before, picked him up.
That's right, you did. But I will say, if I were in Encino, I would have cleared traffic very quickly and then got here sooner.
There you
go. But because Studio City further east. So what happened was kind of a weird story. Had been married for a long time, met my wife at a show in Vegas at what was the Riviera, the comedy club at the Riviera. Met her back in 2009, lived together, married, everything great. Mm-hmm. Over the pandemic, I became very obsessed with rescuing dogs. That was my passion project. That's what I love to do.
Really?
I love pulling dogs from the shelter, bringing them to a new foster, bringing them to a vet. If they couldn't find a place to stay, they would come home to me.
Right.
So I just became obsessed with this. And what was crazy, Craig, is that at a point in time during the pandemic, when nothing else was going on, I think I had, I'm not going to even lie about it, I think I had 14 dogs in my house. 14 dogs.
Wait a
Small
minute.
dogs, big dogs, huge.
Fosters. Not completely.
A mix of both.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you have any spares?
Now?
That I can foster with my family?
Are you serious?
Dead serious. We lost our dog during the pandemic. Yes, our dog passed away.
I do.
The kids are begging me.
Are you serious?
For a dog. Oh, he's been big begging me.
Really?
And I get tempted. You go to these, you see them out there. Did I ever tell you the story about my ex used to love to rescue dogs, and she rescued this one that didn't bark. Just went.
Are you serious?
So I said, what do we need another dog for? She goes, we need a watchdog. I said, that's all it's going to do is watch. The burglars break it in. Need an interpreter. Get out of here.
Need an inhaler is what that dog needed. So here was the problem. This is what started it all.
What happened?
My wife and I had a great place in Santa Monica, a small little place, 1 bedroom right by the beach. I said, I want to move to the valley. I want a backyard. We moved to the valley. We rent a place in Encino. I walk in, look at the backyard. I'm like, this is amazing. The house, not so great. Backyard is exactly what I was looking for. What I didn't realize at the time when we moved is that backyard was going to ruin us, because that backyard for me was this haven for me to now start rescuing dogs.
Oh, jeez.
And I looking at it now having been kind of on a different level and refocusing, that was my drug. That was my drug of saving dogs. That was I remember one time.
How's your wife with this?
Not good. That's why she left. That was,
Oh, I didn't get that part.
Now there's a good ending to this.
You did say past tense wife.
Yes.
Which was, I'm going, whoa, this is some news I don't know.
So there's a great ending to the story, which is, and actually I was just talking to my wife just before we jumped in here, because we are on great terms right now.
How many dogs do you have to get rid of to be on great terms?
A lot. So what happened was, I'm literally, and I'm looking through my phone just recently, Craig, and I see all these dogs that have either been in my car or in my house. I don't remember 90% of them, because they either went from my house to another place.
You see them on your phone. The dogs are texting you? I mean,
pictures. Yeah. But they're like, my whole thing was, whenever I pulled a dog out of the shelter, we always stopped at McDonald's. Cheeseburgers, 2 for them, 4 for me, whatever the case was. It was always great. I always did the Freedom Ride, the video, all that stuff. But it just became an obsession that I couldn't stop. And these rescues knew how to tug at my heartstrings, because they would say, can we pull this dog? We have nowhere for this dog to go. Can you foster for a week? The week would turn into a month. The month would turn into 6 months. It got beyond crazy. And I'm on every single website Facebook post that shows these dogs in need. And you know this, whenever you see a dog that is in need of rescuing, whoever these authors are that are writing these posts know how to get you.
Oh, yeah.
The dog is speaking, I don't want to die today. Please help me. If somebody doesn't come to pull me by 4 o'clock, I'm not going to make it. I'm like, I'm going to be there for you, Buster. I'm coming to get you before 4 o'clock, right?
How many Busters do you have, actually? You probably have about 5 Busters.
So here was the kiss of death. And
Yeah.
this is how, things got a little bumpy with my wife and I. This was last summer. I was literally heading out to work somewhere. Maybe this was 2 summers ago. I was heading out to work somewhere. I saw this huge 85-pound dog that was in need at a shelter in Lancaster, hour and a half away. It says, I'm going to be put down today if nobody gets me. Boom, 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 boom. I get the dog, 85-pound dog. The next day I leave to go on the road for 2 weeks. My wife is dealing with this dog. The dog chews up all of our DirecTV cable lines, chews her wedding dress, chews the couch. Now, my wife...
That was symbolic, the wedding dress.
Yes, immediately, right? My wife is furious, and I don't understand why. I'm like, well, we just saved the dog. And meanwhile, I'm in Cancun having a margarita. Like, I
am with her so much on this.
Of course.
I'm thinking about stopping the show right now and punishing you like she did to tell you how wrong this is. It sounds so philanthropic. It sounds so heart-filled that you've done this.
I had the right intentions.
But you've got, well, somewhat.
Sure.
You got a partner, though, you got to run this by.
Well,
and I love that you left her with the 85-pound dog. You didn't leave
Hubble.
You didn't leave her with a Chihuahua.
By the way, there was one night, pouring rain outside. The DirecTV line was cut. She couldn't get on the internet. She literally says, do you know if our neighbors have some sort of internet that I could steal for a couple of minutes?
No.
She was literally in the bedroom, in a corner where she could get Wi-Fi for 10 minutes. So you quickly see why this is fading, right?
Yeah.
By the way, not only 12 dogs. Can you imagine the cleanup, the feedings, just everything that's going on with 12, 13 dogs?
By the way, how about your neighbors? That's what I'm barking.
It wasn't bad.
Because they must have fought. I mean, they didn't know
Not
one
really.
another.
They were all pretty good. And I will tell you, I had great neighbors. First of all, 12 dogs, it's illegal. It's not like even if you wanted to do this, if we had animal control come over, we were done. It's over. It's over.
Right.
Fortunately, we got away with it. So here's what happens. So Michelle moves out. She moves in with some friends. I'm now...
It was literally the dogs or me, and you went,
Yeah.
I got to, the dogs.
And Craig, my mentality was,
My God,
I'm upset with her that she's bailing and can't put the dogs first. Because it's such an obsession for me that I'm shocked that she can't deal with it.
It's like a story of an addict.
It's an addict.
This is a story of you chose the booze, but this time you chose
I'm spending so much
dogs.
Now I'm living by myself in a house that I can't afford. It's way too much money.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to Costco every other day to buy those rotisserie chickens. I'm buying 4 every other day because these dogs, that's what they wanted.
No. It's for the dogs.
It's for the dogs, of
You're
course.
feeding them rotisserie chickens. That's how bad this is. I feel like your counselor now, your first day of rehab. You fed them. So I thought you meant you were feeding yourself because you didn't want, because your wife wasn't there to cook. That's where I thought the story was going. No, I'm feeding
the dogs loved it. $5 for those rotisserie.
Where I'm eating Skittles. That I got. I'm eating Skittles that I got from a comedy club in the back room, and I'm feeding them chicken. That's how bad this is.
Listen. I mean, there's a moment where you're like, these dogs are getting better treatment than I am. I mean, again, I was taking them to the vet. You're like, hey, we want to run this test. There's a 1 in 100 chance that they would have this. Let's run it. $600. Let's do it. Didn't care, right?
Wow.
A test that I wouldn't get done for myself. But what eventually happened was I finally just had a moment where I said, things have to change. And this was really like a drug addict. So what happened was
you had a moment of clarity.
I did.
Yeah.
At the end of last year, I said, you know what? It's not fair to me. It's not fair to Michelle. It's also not fair to these dogs because they deserve more one-on-one attention.
Of course, not 1 on 14.
Absolutely, right? That would have been great in college. So I finally took...
Do you know, I just did a show yesterday on my fireside. I have this fireside that I'm on, Mark Cuban's company. And it's actually an interactive podcast. It's live. It was on addiction, but it was on different types of addiction too. People become addicted to carrots to replace cigarettes. Oh yeah, and they turn all orange. But you were addicted to adopting dogs.
Yeah.
And did you ever go to meetings and it's like there's Elaine Boozler?
Right, she's a huge dog
She's
person.
big time. She found my dog when it ran away in the mountains.
Are you serious?
Ended up at another comic's house. Honest to God. Another rescue from my ex-wife got escaped, and literally the name was Stella. And me and my friend who was visiting as comedian, I was literally sounding like the movie. I'm going, Stella!
Looking for the dog.
Looking for the dog. Turns out we go, went down to you go to different places like pet supplies and all that kind of stuff, and veterinarians. Elaine Boozler calls me up. I have your dog. I go, Elaine Boozler? She goes, yeah. I go, it's Craig Shoemaker. So it said she got our dog because she is a dog nut like you are.
Whitney Cummings, same way. Dog. Oh, really? Dog person. Yes.
And doesn't she have like a place that she can afford?
I think so. But she's got every kind of animal. Horses.
Right, yeah.
I never went that far with a horse.
She's in like Topanga or something?
Yes.
With like acres that she can do this.
Yes.
Okay. You are in the middle of a neighborhood.
With a backyard that I looked at, I was like, oh my gosh, this is Disneyland. This is going to be great, right?
Okay.
So basically I had this moment where I was like, this has to stop. I got to get my health back together. Things are starting to come back with work. It's getting a little busier. I can't do this anymore. So I took about a month, and I got all the dogs rehomed, all of them, except for two of the older dogs, 2 poodles that probably don't have a lot of time, and they live with me. And what happened was just everything worked out perfectly because I have a buddy that lives in Studio City that has a guest house down below. Mm-hmm. His tenant was going to move out in, say, May. Mm-hmm. And he said, I can actually go to another friend's house and move in with them, and you can take over my place February the 1st. So now I'm living downstairs in this beautiful guest house, 2 dogs that he was okay with, an amazing view of the valley. My rent is amazingly
What happened to your old house?
It's now up for rent. And I think they have
For rent?
Yes. Well, listen. I don't think that they could go in there and rent that thing out easily because I'm sure
everything's chewed up.
Everything's chewed up. Yeah.
I'm sure your wife chewed a few things too. That kind of frustration. I'd be chewing stuff.
Some of the baseboards.
So what about you and your wife?
Okay, so she could not be happier that I'm in a better spot right now.
Yeah,
She's very happy that
she still lives with her friend.
Still lives with her friend, but we see, it's funny. We have this great relationship. We talk 3 times a day.
Better than ever.
Better than ever. We just saw Hamilton last week. Like, we are better than ever right now.
You went together to Hamilton.
I had a better seat because I do better financially, so she was up in the balcony. But
you
we're
got
great.
connections.
We're
Did
great.
you use connections, by the way, to get to Hamilton?
If Gold Star is a connection, then I use connections.
Use Gold Star.
$49.
I didn't realize you could go to Gold Star for Hamilton.
By the way, nobody's going now.
I would love to go to Hamilton.
$49.
If my wife would go with me, but we have no dogs and we're in the same position.
Well, I will say we went because nobody's going to that show anymore now, so you can get tickets very cheap.
Do you have to wear a mask the whole time?
You do. It stinks.
Yeah,
and you're very close to people. Yeah. But listen, we went last week. It was great, but so we could not be better as a couple right now. In fact, whenever I go out of town now, she'll come over and stay for a little bit. But here's what's saving me money now, Craig. I'm paying a third in rent for what I was paying.
Yeah.
And I don't have to pay for all the dogs.
Wait a minute, your house. Oh, I thought you owned that house in Encino.
No.
I didn't realize that. So it's up to them to rent it. You're out of there.
Done.
You're done.
Done.
Oh, okay, I'll never be picking you up there again. I like that neighborhood.
I love that neighborhood.
Yeah.
But Studio City.
They didn't love you though. Yeah,
you're just the neighborhood. Yeah,
here goes the Barkers. The Barkers have left.
I will say, but knowing now, because I was so obsessed with all their happiness with the dogs.
Yeah.
Seeing the dogs one-on-one with somebody is so amazing to me.
Yeah.
I love seeing that. Like, I love seeing dogs that I never thought would get adopted. They're in a new space. It's great.
You work on a lot of shows.
Yes.
You do a thing called, a lot of civilians out there don't know, audience warm-up.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And
great gig.
And, I was thinking about that because I know how much you do work in that space.
Yeah.
There are only a few of you out there.
Under 10. Under 10 people.
That's amazing to me that are really good at it.
Yeah.
I did it once or a few times, actually.
You did?
Yeah, I replaced someone, and, it was great. I actually was pretty good at it.
It's a skill.
I'm not as good as you, but I mean, I was pretty good at it.
What shows?
I have to go to. Well, one of them was Fuller House.
Okay.
He couldn't make it, and he's one of the best.
Ron
Pearson.
Yep.
Yes, he's unbelievable.
Yep.
Watching him, but then again, though, that gave me tips on how to do it.
Sure.
A lot of it's just giving away stuff.
Yes.
That's one of the secrets. If you have a little grab bag of stuff.
People
it's
love
like
it.
feeding seals. You'll shut them up. You'll make them laugh, whatever it is. They'll do anything for a mood ring, or something, whatever you're giving away.
Craig, I had a buddy of mine who still does warm-up, who literally would work on sitcoms. He would probably have 1 or 2 T-shirts to give away the entire night. This guy would make that T-shirt last like he had a box of 90. He just kept holding up the T-shirt. And like by the end of the show, the T-shirt was yellow and stained. And you're like, he's still holding up this T-shirt that wasn't even part of the show. It was probably like a Vote for Pedro T-shirt or whatever. But like he was so good at goosing this one thing he had and getting the audience to believe it. Or he would always use, I have backstage passes. There were never any backstage passes. Like it really is a smoke and mirrors kind of thing. Because you need that audience on your side. And the minute that they yell cut and the show's done, goodbye. Because people
all those relationships you established, you would never talk to any of them ever again.
Because people will come up to you and be like, "Hey, my sister's grandma's third cousin's wife is battling, stage 1 cancer. A T-shirt from Will and Grace would really put her in remission." And it was true. Like, and then most warm-ups have a strategy. Like when they were doing the good nights or having to say goodbye, they would do it around the corner. Not in the audience, from the wireless mic, and then just dart off. They'd be like, "Where's that warm-up guy? He promised me backstage." Gone. He's in his car already. He's driving off to Radford. Yeah.
You are the warm-up for my family's favorite show.
Masked Singer.
Yeah.
We just wrapped it. We just wrapped up 10 episodes last week.
That's how fast you do it?
They taped that show. We taped 10 episodes over 3 weeks.
Let me get some inside poop here.
Yeah.
First of all, I have an observation.
Okay.
That I'm sure no one except my perverted ass has come up with this observation.
Okay.
I want you to notice. I know you're not going to watch the show on television.
I might.
Just to see this.
Okay.
At least it was the last, unless someone's on to this. My kids even notice now because I brought it up, which I shouldn't, because it's not something, it's a little adult, but I do. My kids laugh at me all the time anyway. They laugh at me. I'm like grumpy now because that you and I are white guys.
Yep.
We don't get cast in anything anymore. No. You're racist. But that's what's great about your job as this one of 10, right? You can be. It's colorless. They're not going, we need diversity.
Right.
Everything else, they need diversity. My kids laugh at me. I go, here's a commercial. I say, here's a group that would never be assembled ever in life.
Right.
They would never, ever be assembled, but you have to do it for diversity's sake.
Having a Domino's
so I'm
pizza.
Like,
right.
Well, here comes the trans delivery person.
Right.
It hands it over to the family from Honduras, and it's like people that would never ever be together at a party.
Right.
But they have to do it, and they also have to make sure the white guys are out now. So that's why I was thinking to myself, wow, you really have the great job.
Yes.
Because there's no way they even have a choice.
Right.
Unless there's some diversity or minority hires for doing what you do, which there are a few. So anyway, on the show, the 2 women on the show, the 2 judges, they rotate as if they speak to each other on who shows cleavage that week. I am not kidding
my gosh,
you.
That's funny.
My kids, it's a joke now. I go, who is it this week? And then Nicole Scherzinger, she's all, showing everything. She makes them up. She actually, makes them shine. These gigantic boobs. They both have gigantic boobs. By the way, keeps the dads interested, I'm sure, at home. So now you can watch with the kids. Kids are happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Then the next week, Jenny McCarthy, the plunging neckline. If you watch it, it's literally every other week, like they talk about it.
3rd week, Robin Thicke showing the.
By the way, he did a couple times.
Well, he doesn't wear a shirt. Did you notice that?
He has the chest hair coming out.
Yeah, so does Nick Cannon.
By the way, I have to tell you something. A little bit of a man crush on him.
Robin Thicke.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's very smart, talented, good-looking, obviously.
So it's interesting because I've warmed up a lot of shows, and people ask me how it is warming up Masked Singer, and it's It's a very long day because what people don't realize, there's so much that
must
goes
be the
into
longest
that
day
show.
ever.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's so much that goes into it.
Just
where
the set changes.
The set changes. I mean,
every set's $1 million.
It's
Can't
beautifully
even believe it. Choreographed.
It's
the dancers.
Because once the
It's the most
dancers
amazing
come out,
thing I've ever seen.
It really, it's like a mini Cirque du Soleil show when they come out.
Every single
beautiful.
person that comes out, every single Masked Singer has a new set design.
New songs.
Like this would be years ago. This would be like one set for the whole year, and they do every single. It's amazing to me. You know who else does it? Also is America's Got Talent. They do it as well.
Yes.
Unbelievable. The production design that goes into these shows is it's absolutely devastating, but just like
it's crazy,
breathtaking.
It's beautiful.
It is. So
I just
that takes time to do that. To reset. So you have a lot to do.
Yes, it does take time to do that.
Better have a lot of T-shirts.
Well, here's what's great about Masked Singer, and this is why I love the show. When I did Conan, when I worked on the Conan O'Brien show, which was easily, looking back on my career, one of my favorite gigs ever.
And also easy.
Easy.
They're there for comedy.
They're there for comedy.
And there's
it's
no
late
set
night
designs.
Show.
Yes, and
it
it's
can be
a
little
live show,
dirty.
basically.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I would go out. I'd get there at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
My warm-up started at 4:15. 4:15 to 4:30. Show starts. I'd watch the monologue, make sure they were okay.
Out.
Be walking back to my car at 4:40.
Wow.
And the money was great.
That's the best gig ever.
Great gig. So then you look at a sitcom, right?
Yeah.
You did Fuller House. Those gigs are great, but they're long. They're
because they do retakes. They
Yes.
do a ton of retakes and
Yes.
different sets that they go to. People don't realize when you go to a studio, each
Yes.
set is right in front of you. So they move it over. They move the cameras over, and now you're in a new atmosphere. You're in the backyard now.
Right.
All right, that's it. Let's move it over to here. And while they're moving over and
That's when you
resetting,
jump in.
that's when you have to jump in.
Now, the difference between a sitcom that might last for 5 hours or the Masked Singer that might last that long is there's not a lot of – there's pressure for you on a sitcom, but it's more pressure for them to laugh at the right moments, right? And when you're doing something like the Masked Singer, it's more about the energy of the show. It's not about them laughing. It's about them applauding, them being high energy.
Exactly.
So there's a huge difference. It's easier and more calming for the warm-up on a sitcom because you're just making them laugh. You want them to have a good time. Where Masked Singer, it's constant energy. It's
and
like
nothing to do with laughter.
there's
Yeah,
right.
basically.
They're constantly standing, this, that, and the other thing. I will say when I first started Masked Singer, I was worried because I was like, I don't know if this is my wheelhouse.
When did you start on that show?
I did the final 2 episodes of last season.
Oh, okay. So you're new there.
Yep, and I just did this entire season. 10 episodes.
Wow. Okay.
So
who did it before?
They had random guys, but it's almost like if you don't know the show or don't know how to get into the rhythm of that show, you're not going to last. It's very rhythmic.
And
the
people didn't last, like literally they were let go because they just didn't have it down the way you have it down. You have a certain style that you have to bring to them, but you have to combine it with what their needs are.
You have to combine it with you nailed it, and you have to know where to stand. You have to know how to deal with the stage. Like it's not just going out there and cheerleading. There's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
And you're wearing an earpiece that's letting you know what's going on with the director. There's so much going on.
Stalling, there's a lot of stalling because they have issues.
Yes. So here's what was nice when I started because I knew
It's so cool I had you on today. It's one of the reasons I had you on.
There's
I've never had anyone to give people an inside track on what this takes. This is an element of a television show that no one knows and how important it is to a television show.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Yeah, not unless they've been to a show. And
well, it's nice with Masked Singer because when I first started there, I knew there'd be big stop downs. And the main people of that show said, what can we do to make your job easier? And I was like, you never hear that. You never, ever hear that from any show.
Because they know how hard it is, and they've gone
it is.
through a few already, some randos.
So I said, listen, let's do this. Let's just see how this works, and if it doesn't work, we'll switch it. I said, during the big stop downs, let me just play music. Let me go talk to the crowd individually.
Have people dance.
Yeah, but
you do that?
No, because
Really?
not really, because I don't want to burn them out. If they're dancing, if they're giving off too much energy during the downtime,
There's just a couple sacrificial dancers.
yes, but then they're going to be
It's for the good of the
then they're
cause.
going to be tired.
That's what I would do. I'd say,
come out-
I want to see you two dance. Like I have a dance contest.
You'll do that if there's a
love that.
huge stop down. But I will say because everybody was in agreement of how we should do it, it just made so the minute we're ready to rock and roll again, that's when you're like, okay, guys, we're ready to go. We still need that same great. So it was like the minute you start to see the judges come back or Nick comes back or whoever, that's when you start turning it up again. So that's what made the show that much more enjoyable for me, because I knew where the beats were. I knew where I could let them be, relax, use the restroom.
Did they ever give you the hairy eyeball? I had that happen a couple times.
No.
Where they're like, hey, funny boy, hey, court jester, stop now, we're ready.
I've had that.
That's what I mean.
Can I tell you this much? There's nothing worse than doing, like, say, a sitcom where you know it's going to be a 5-hour night.
Yeah.
And you're looking at the audience, and because it's a new show, they don't have real fans. So these shows will hire seat fillers that take the place of real fans.
Who suck, by the way.
Shows. They're awful.
They're the worst.
They
give you attitude.
Fundraising groups from a church.
That's right.
From a school, UCLA, whatever it is.
They're doing it for the money.
They're doing it for the money.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than 5 minutes in, the jokes from the top up front have not worked. You're standing up top on the stage. You getting a tug on the pant leg that says, this audience isn't good. And you want to say, first of all, I know that. I'm up closer with them. I absolutely know that. But why don't we talk about the script? Why don't we talk about the actors that nobody's heard of? Like why is it all based on me? You know what I'm saying? Because we both know you could be up there killing, and then it's awful down there. It's awful. I've worked on those shows.
And by the way, celebrities, that's not easy either, dealing with celebrities.
No.
By the way, speaking of that, this has never happened in all the times I've been doing this. You're probably my 40th guest or so.
Okay.
You hear how loud they are out there? I'm going to have to yell at them. You know why? Because a superstar walked in. This is how people are. It's like, who cares about Craig and his little Gary friend who rescues dogs?
Yeah.
Kenny Loggins is here. He should do Masked Singer.
Ooh.
That would be a great one.
I wonder if he's been approached.
Hey, anybody want to be a little more quiet out there? We're having a little show going on.
I thought those were
I know the big
curtains.
Grammy winner walked in, but we've got the one of the top 10 warm up people. That's a cool thing. That's an honor.
As heard on AM radio. Yes, after school and traffic weather on the 10s. No, but I will listen. I will say this, because there was a point where I thought when warm up wasn't coming back or crowds weren't coming back, I started doing cruise ships, and I just hated it.
You did?
I hated it. Yeah.
Do you know, Gary, I said to myself, you make these little self-proclamations in life, and, you visualize things, you call it the law of attraction. I actually said to myself, if I ever do a cruise, I'm walking the plank of my career. You're saying goodbye to your career.
Sure.
You have now surrendered. You go, I have no shot of ever drawing again, of ever making the good money, so I won't do it. I've been tempted. Nope.
Really?
I did private. The guy he was so rich, he took the whole ship for 2 weeks.
Are you serious?
That's how rich he was.
How many shows are you doing over 2 weeks?
No. I had to do one, and I was so good, though, they hired me again on the same trip, same audience. I had to do, so I had already done an hour. I had to go back in my act, and I put poster board. I had them buy me some props. I said, if I'm going to do this, you're going to stop at this port in Alaska and get these props that I need, this old hood that I used to use in my act. I don't know if you remember that bit, but and then I had a poster which had cue cards. It was like cue cards on the floor. I said, if you're going to have this happen, I have to have this. And sure enough, they did, and I did a whole other show, and then they helicoptered me out because I had to do another gig, and I couldn't be there that long.
Here's what I love, and you'll back me up on
what's
this.
That?
I love when you see comics that will post on Facebook, my view for the day, and they show them in Aruba with the ocean in the background. It's like, why don't you show me you back on the ship in your lousy cabin, you getting yelled at by the entertainment director because you used a curse word, the passengers swearing at you, you eating at that lousy buffet. Like, show that. That's your office view for the day. And here's what else kills me about these cruises.
How about Erin Murphy? What happened to her? You heard about that, right?
No.
Oh, wait till you hear this. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you do a cruise, let's say they call me and they say, we want you to do Norwegian, we want you to do Carnival, whatever that is. Jen Murphy, by the way.
Jen Murphy.
Yes, I do know this story. Yes. I was like, Erin Murphy.
Yeah, okay. Erin Murphy is from Tabitha from Bewitched, and a really good friend of mine. She was here as well.
Yes.
But I have no idea why I just called Jen Murphy Erin Murphy. Go ahead. I'm glad you corrected me.
These cruises will tell you need 3 different 30-minute sets. And I was like, are you guys hiring Chris Rock? Like, who's coming on the ship that has 3
30-minute, completely, yes.
And you look at these
comics.
And
they pay you horrible money.
Yes. And you look at these comics, Craig, and you're like, this comic is doing a cruise, and they have 3 30-minute. I always see you doing the same 10 that's not working. So where's this other 80 minutes?
Well, you know where it comes from.
It's coming from the buffet jokes. It's coming from...
No, they just steal.
They're stealing it. Yeah.
Because absolutely. I've been told 1,000 times. There's ship comics.
Yes.
It's almost like they're forgiven. I've talked to the booker, one of the big bookers, who's a former comic, Smirnoff. Bruce Smirnoff. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I booked Gary Cannon. He killed, but he anyway, that's my Bruce impression. Oh. I thought you'd be impressed by it, but I guess you don't know Bruce Smirnoff that well.
Smirnoff.
No. Bruce. I do a dead-on Bruce Smirnoff. I fooled his mom.
Oh, okay.
He got back on the phone. He goes, Mommy, did you know that wasn't me for the last 10 minutes? I'm coming for the money. You're out of your mind. So anyway.
If I knew Bruce, I'd be laughing right now.
You would be howling.
I'd be howling.
I mean, I do the
like
best,
your dog.
The best Bruce Smirnoff you've ever heard. But anyway, which will get me very far in life. But there's something. They're just looking for certain things. They don't care if you're original. They care if you dress well, speak well, good looking helps, and you just go by their standards, and you can work for the rest of your life.
By the way, the audience doesn't care either. They don't care. They're there to drink Michelob Ultras. They don't care if the comedy's that good.
No.
They're just there to pass the time so they can go back out to
They're not buying a ticket for a cruise going, oh, my God, Gary Cannon's on the cruise. Craig Shoemaker's on the cruise doing comedy. That's why I'm here. No, they're not there for that reason.
Yeah.
They're there. All it is just part of, the gay cruises are very popular.
Because you know what it is? They're not paying. All they're doing is walking by.
Yeah.
Here's a comedy club. We're looking for something to do
before
our dinner reservation.
Because there's nothing else to do.
We'll stop by.
Yeah,
that's it.
Of course. It's just part of the thing. It's as much a part of the thing as bingo. I mean, we should just yell numbers.
You know this. You look around the ship, and when you first get on it, you're like, wow, look at all this stuff there is to do. And then a day and a half in, you're like, oh, we've seen it all. So it's easy. That's why they have you do 12 comedy shows a week, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. So Jen was stuck. Yes. She had COVID.
Correct.
They treated her like a prisoner. She had no windows.
Right.
And it would just bring her food, knock on the door, and run.
So our friend Jen Murphy was supposed to do a Carnival Cruise Line, got COVID like a day in. They tested her, and they put her down in the bellies of the ship.
Yeah.
By the way, one better, not only no windows, no door handle for her to leave. Like, she had no door handle.
No.
Like, she couldn't get out.
She was trapped in there.
Trapped. So they didn't even want her tempted to just leave and go get a breath of fresh air, because that would have been healthy.
Wow. That is unbelievable. Everybody's reaction. So anyway, I did want to wrap this up by asking you. The show is called Enlightened Up. It's not just about, comedy or having fun, which was so much fun hanging with you and having some laughs and catching up with you. It's been a long time. But I would like to know, kind of like along the theme of when you're on a cruise ship, what is your practice, like a spiritual practice? What is your practice as a human being and getting better? I know once you're off the dogs,
right?
But
which was big.
What is your process of life and personal development? Do you have one?
I will say this: I see a lot of comics that I think aren't as good as me. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of comics that are better than me. I look at the range, and I always say this. I might not be a guy that's going to have an amazing house in the hills. I may not be a guy that's going to walk through a mall that people are going to recognize. Mm-hmm. I may not have the best car in the world. But I can tell you this, I've always been happy. Mm-hmm. I've always been happy whether I've had $3 in my bank account or $20,000 or whatever that is. Mm-hmm. No matter what I've been doing during the pandemic when it was about the dogs. And believe me, over the pandemic, which a lot of people faced, we all had our bumpy times. We all had our rough times, whether it was financially, emotionally, with my wife, things going downhill, being behind in rent. I mean, there was a time when I was working at Conan, then running over to do a sitcom for Ken Jeong. Like, things were fantastic. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you, at the end of the day, if I didn't feel good about myself and what I was doing, it was all for nothing.
Yeah.
I had to feel good internally in order for everything else to matter. Mm-hmm. And again, it wasn't about the money. It was about being healthy. You know what happened for me this year that was better than anything else? I requalified for my medical insurance for another year.
Nice.
And to me, that meant everything.
So it sounds like simplicity is your happiness.
And now that I'm in a small place, tiny, 2 dogs, I could not be happier.
That's amazing.
So I literally alleviated the house, 12 dogs,
Wife.
And now, yeah,
I hope she's not
you
watching.
had to throw that in there. But because I'm so simplistic now, it's amazing.
That is
and
a wonderful way to live.
It
really is.
Listen,
you know, Gary, I know the people who are at the top, alleged top.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'd rather be you and me. You know what I mean? I've been there. I've actually had my successes, and none of them compare to bonding with people, connection with people, divine connection, happy connection, laughter connection. There's nothing that compares to it. And there's no money exchange. There's nothing involved. I will be giving you a parting gift of vitamins, highest vitamins.
Yes.
You might even get a candle.
Really?
Yeah, they're amazing candles. I don't know if he brought one for you, but we'll see.
Okay.
I know he has one for Kenny Loggins.
I guarantee you he's got one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But fun.
It is true.
Fun is at the top of the list.
By the way, ask anybody who you know that's successful, and they will tell you some of the happiest times they've ever had in their life was when they had that small one-bedroom apartment near the beach, near downtown. Right. They were solo.
When you're bonding and growing in the business or whatever it is.
I've said this. You know what makes me the happiest?
Suffering a little bit, yeah.
When I walk into the Improv and I feel like I'm part of that family.
Yeah.
That for
like
me.
you were that night. I was so impressed with that.
For me, that means everything because I feel like that's what I've earned.
I walked in and thought I was a distant cousin no one wanted.
They said you over
that vomited at the dinner
factory.
table the last time. They sent me over to the Comedy Store.
Gotta go. So it doesn't matter.
I've had that for a long time, by the way, that feeling that I am not wanted in these places.
Sure.
And it's not a good feeling to have. And yet, so many times when I do take the risk and do go to these situations, because, you know, I headline on the road and I don't see anybody. I saw you when you opened for me. I see the openers, whatever it is, and that's it. It's just me and, you know, they do their minutes and I do my time. And so I do miss that, though. I do miss that, you know, some different comics have passed away that I was friends with.
Sure.
But not that friends with. You know what I mean? Not like when you see how Bob Saget is honored by Jeffrey Ross.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or you see the type of bonding that I ended up missing out on. So that's my one FOMO of missing out is like, here I got this great career, you know, going headlining and stuff, and a lot of people would envy that career. But there is that, and I still have great friends, but not a lot of comic friends.
Sure.
Because I don't feel like you feel. When you walk in, it's like, and you can walk in, here's the thing is that you have balls with old jokes. Like, and you went up and delivered them.
Yeah.
And, you know, with passion and with the same, as if it was a crowd of people, civilians, as I call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing to me. You know, I would never do that. I would go, oh, my God. I'd be so in my head going, I'm doing an impression now. They're going to go, oh, here comes a hack impression. Oh, he's going to do the love mess? Are you serious? You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel in my head. And you go in and you just go, no, these are my people.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So that's how you live your life. That's how you live your enlightened life. That's how you keep things simple. That's the message. I love to have some messages. That's one I need to hear. I think it's fantastic. And I hope everybody here had a good time in our show today. Some laughs, some fun, some levity.
Thank you for having me. Listen, I love, this was so great. We were talking in the lobby for 20 minutes before we came in here.
I know. More than that. It was because you got here early and but no, that was a wonderful time to reconnect. I had to keep don't say anything like Masked Singer and stuff like that. And, you know, but yeah, I walk in. Sometimes your friend Ken Jeong is like, I assume that they don't even know me. And a lot of times they go, oh, no, are you kidding me? You know, and maybe I even met them before. But
he's changed my career. I mean, he's gotten me so many jobs and has been just such a good friend.
He invited my family to the Masked Singer. But
he did.
But I didn't have his cell phone.
Yeah.
So I was never able to follow up on it because my family would freak if they went to the Masked Singer.
He didn't ask you to fax him?
Maybe knowing Uncle Gary.
There you go.
This could be the end.
So because you're now a VIP at the Masked Singer, you would only have to be there for 4 hours. Yeah.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah. I don't know.
Really?
Somebody just asked me, like, hey, can I come to the show as a VIP? I was like, I don't even know what that means. Because I'm so new at that show, I try to fly under the radar. It's not like Conan where it was so great to take people in and out and around and tour.
Yeah.
And, like, by the way, the Masked Singer tapes at a weird studio on Cahuenga that, like, there's really nothing there.
And also what's weird about it is it's really not a great experience.
It's a long day.
It's too long. My friend, he was a finalist in America's Got Talent. I was like, sorry, I don't want to go. I don't want to sit there. I love you, but all right. Anyway, we got to run. Remember to stay in touch with us. What's your Instagram and all that?
Everything is just GaryCannon.com. They can link to everything from there.
How lucky did you get? Okay,
that's right.
Well, anyway, Gary Cannon, one of the best.
Thank you, Craig.
He's been at it a long time. He had a mellifluous voice that he has. He's just got timing. And now I taught him today that K's are funny. The guy never even knew that, okay?
Didn't know.
All right, be sponsored by Kohl's. I am sponsored by Highest Vitamins. Look at these things, HYEST. Go to there, follow them. They have the best vitamins in the business. I've been paid now to say that. No, I'm not just saying. I've been taking them for a while. I'm very excited, and I'm going to give you a bottle.
I love it.
A parting gift. All right.
I love it.
Thanks for being here, and remember, folks, enlighten the fuck up, will you? See you next time.